بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Alhamdulillah, we are able to start again our sessions on Munajat Khamsat Ashar, the whispered prayers of Imam Zain al-Abidin, and this time we are going to start the Munajat for the people who have eagerness to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the devotee, al-muridin. Muridin comes from irada. Irada means will. So murid is the one who has the will, who has the intention to reach something, to achieve something. So a person who is very much willing to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to find in this munajat the way that he can express his will and his eagerness for this meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's one of the most beautiful ones among these 15. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka ma adyaqa at-turuq ala man lam takun dalila. May you be glorified. How narrow are the paths for him whom you have not guided. Or if you want to be more literal, you can say, how narrow are the paths for him you have not been his guide. Dalil means guide. Means if someone doesn't have you as his guide, the path towards success, towards happiness becomes very very narrow, very difficult. Sometimes, you find that you go, for example, for Hajj. If you have a good guide, everything becomes easy for you. Tawaf becomes easy for you. Sa'i becomes easy for you. Ramy, throwing stones, becomes easy for you. Because he knows what time is the best time to do this. What method is the best method. So he finds the easiest and quickest ways for performing your deeds, your amal. But if you don't have a good guide, if you don't have someone who is experienced, someone who is wise, then he can put you into lots of difficulties and troubles. Our path towards success, towards happiness, can be sometimes very, very narrow. It can be very, very wide. It can be like a motorway that you can go very fast. It can become so narrow that if you are not careful, you go out of the road. You would deviate. It depends on whom you are following, whom you are taking as your guide. If Allah is your guide, then it's like a motorway. If Allah is not your guide, it becomes like snake road, very, very narrow. So, ما أضيق الطرق على من لم تكن دليله وما أوضح الحق عند من هديته سبيله. And how clear is the truth for him you have guided his path, his way. So if you are his guide, the truth is very clear. If you are not, it's very unclear. Putting these two sentences together makes the result like this, that if Allah is the guide, the path becomes very wide and also clear. If Allah is not guide, it becomes very narrow and very unclear. Not easy to find. You cannot miss a motorway. But if there is a very narrow road, narrow path in a jungle, then you may miss it. So, for the people who are concerned about this journey and about being able to reach the destination, the only way to be confident that inshallah you would survive, you would not miss the road, the path, you would not be confused, you would not deviate, is to take Allah as your guide. Of course, as far as Allah is concerned, He doesn't mind to be guide for everyone. But you have to choose that. He doesn't force. If you want, you can register with Him. If you don't want, you can register with other guides. But if you choose Him as your guide, if you trust Him, if you take His words, if you follow Him, then He would make everything for you clear and easy. So we say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ilahi fasluk bina subul al-wusule ilayk. So, O Allah, please make us travel on the roads that arrive at you. Very beautiful. Wusul means reaching, arriving. So put us in those roads, on those roads that finally would end with meeting you. فاسلك بنا سبل الوصول إليك. Make us travel on the roads that arrive at you. So this is about the destination. So that route, that direction that would arrive at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to be chosen. In addition to that, we have this request. وَسَيِّرْنَا فِي أَقْرَبِ الطُّرُقِ لِلْوُفُودِ عَلَيْكَ. Not only we want to be on the road which would arrive at you, we say, please set us into motion on the paths which are nearest, which are shortest for reaching you. Aqrab means closest, nearest, shortest. Because our time is very limited. We have to find the easiest and the shortest way. If you take a very long journey, a long route, maybe you would not be able to finish this journey. Your time would be over. So it's better to find a path which is also shorter. قرب علينا البعيد. Please make near for us the far. Success is not something which is near to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not someone that you can easily meet, because the distance between us and Him is infinite. The difference between someone like me and you, who is impure and imperfect and with full of limitations, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is infinite and the most perfect, the absolute, the distance, the difference is infinite. Therefore, the path is a very long path. in the lectures on spirituality, sometimes I have made this point that we find, for example, Imam Ali alayhi salam saying, min qillat az-zad wa bu'd as-safar. This journey is very long and provision that we have is not enough. Even Amir al-Mu'minin says his provision is not enough because this journey is very long. When you have an infinite journey, you need infinite provision. But if you move, if you embark and go on in this journey, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also makes it shorter for you. This is why Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam says in Dua Abu Hamza, Inna rahila ilayka qareebul masafa. Although Amirul Mu'minin says it's bu'd al-tariq, it's very long journey, but Imam Zainul Abidin says, Inna rahila ilayk, the one who is actually on the way, who has started the journey, he has a short distance in front of him. Why? Because when you move, Allah also comes towards you. If the distance between you and Allah, say for example, is 1,000 kilometers, if you go 1 kilometer, He will come towards you 100 kilometers. So if you go 2 kilometers, He would come 200 kilometers to you. So then it becomes very short. Like for example, you want to move to meet someone who lives in another country. But he says, you come just to the airport in your town, and I come all the way from my town to the airport in your town. You go by car, I come by plane. So the journey becomes very short. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put us into motion on the path which is the nearest one. We say also, قَرِّبْ عَلَيْنَا الْبَعِيدِ, please make near for us the far. وَسَهِّلْ عَلَيْنَا الْعَسِيرَ الشَّدِيدِ, and please make easy for us the hard and difficult. You know, sometimes there are short routes, but then they are very, very difficult. For example, sometimes you want to climb a mountain. You can go straight to the top of the mountain, but then it would be very, very difficult. If you go into the longer route, then it becomes easier. But here what we want is that we want something which is the shortest and at the same time the easiest. This is why you need a very good guide who can measure everything, who knows all different routes, and then says, okay, this is the best option for you, the shortest and the easiest. Actually, he himself takes part of the burden. He carries your goods. He holds on your hand and perhaps even carries yourself when you are unable to move, or when you are too slow. He carries you and takes you there. وَأَلْحَقْنَا بِعِبَادِكَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ بِالْبِدَارِ إِلَيْكَ يُسَارِعُونَ. Very beautiful. Please let us join those servants of you that hurry to you swiftly. They don't lose any time, any opportunity. They are very fast in their motion. They want to reach you quickly. So we want to be one of those people. Not the people who are very slow, the people who delay, who postpone. Either they don't move at all, or even if they move very slowly. وَبَابَكَ عَلَى الدَّوَامِ يَطْرُقُونَ. Those people, those servants of you that knock constantly at your door. If you constantly knock at any door, it would finally be open for you. So we want to be included among those servants of Allah that continuously knock at His door. وَإِيَّاكَ فِي اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ يَعْبُدُونَ. How can you knock all the time at His door? By worshipping Him, by calling Him, by praying to Him, by paying attention to Him, by thinking about Him. They worship you day and night. They serve you day and night. They are concerned about your intent, your will, your desire, your, can say, instructions, your commands and prohibitions, day and night. وَهُمْ مِنْ حَيْبَتِكَ مُشْفِقُونَ. While they remain apprehensive in awe of you. They have such high regard for you in their heart and in their mind that they are very humbled when they think of you. الَّذِينَ صَفَّيْتَ لَهُمُ الْمَشَارِبِ. Those are the people that you have purified their drinking places. They have access to pure water. Of course, this water is not just normal water. This water perhaps stands for knowledge, for wisdom, for divine blessings and grace. الَّذِينَ صَفَّيْتَ لَهُمُ الْمَشَارِبِ وَبَلَّغْتَهُمُ الرَّغَائِبِ. You have purified their drinking places and you have taken them to their raghbah, to what they wish to have, to the objects of their desire. They are successful, they are satisfied because they have achieved what they wanted. They are not disappointed. وَأَنْجَحْتَ لَهُمُ الْمَطَالِبِ. And you have made their request successful by giving them what they want, by granting them what they request. You have made their request, their pursuit, their search successful. وَقَضَيْتَ لَهُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِكَ الْمَآرِبِ. You have accomplished their wishes through your bounty, through your favor for them. Fadl, Allah's favor, Allah's grace. So because of your support, because of your guidance, because of your grace, you have accomplished their wishes. وَمَلَأْتَ لَهُمْ ضَمَائِرَهُمْ مِنْ حُبِّكَ. You have filled their inner soul with your love. And of course, a person whose requests are granted, a person who has become satisfied, he would love. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. Soon your Lord is going to give you and you will become pleased. So everyone who is given something by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his requests are granted, he would be pleased by Allah. He would be pleased with Allah and he would be loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the people whose hearts would become full of love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they realize that they have everything that they want given to them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَرَوَّيْتَهُمْ مِنْ صَافِي شِرْبِكَ. And you have quenched their thirst with your pure drink. They are fully satisfied. فَبِكَ, very beautiful. فَبِكَ إِلَى لَذِيذِ مُنَاجَاتِكَ وَصَلُوا. They have reached the pleasure of whispering to you. How? فَبِكَ, with you, with your help, through you, they have reached the pleasure of whispering to you. فَبِكَ إِلَى لَذِيذِ مُنَاجَاتِكَ وَصَلُوا. How can someone taste the pleasure, the sweetness of talking to Allah? The only way is if Allah Himself comes and helps us. So with you, through you, they have reached the pleasure of whispering to you. وَمِنْكَ أَقْصَى مَقَاصِدِهِمْ حَصَلُوا, or حَصَلُوا. And through you, in you, they have achieved their far, the most remote, the furthest goals. Something which is not near, or is not even, for example, in the middle. They have achieved their highest requests, their furthest goals. فَيَا مَنْ هُوَ عَلَى الْمُقْبِلِينَ عَلَيْهِ مُقْبِلٌ. So, oh, he who comes towards those who come towards him. وَبِالْعَطْفِ عَلَيْهِمْ عَائِدٌ مُفْضِلٌ. Oh, the one who comes towards those who come towards him and grants gifts and bestows bounty upon them through tenderness. So he is the one who offers everything to the people who move towards him, who show some interest. At least you have to show your interest. At least you have to make few steps. وَبِالْغَافِلِينَ عَنْ ذِكْرِهِ رَحِيمٌ رَؤُوفٌ. And even with the people who are heedless, who are negligent, he is still kind and merciful. So those who show intention and determination of going towards him, he supports them, takes them there. And even those who don't show this, still he tries to be very kind with them, to be available for them, so that if they realize and wake up, he supports them. وَبِالْغَافِلِينَ عَنْ ذِكْرِهِ رَحِيمٌ رَؤُوفٌ. He is compassionate and clement towards those who are heedless of his remembrance. So, what would happen with the people who are heedless? What is the result of being kind? As I said, the result is that he is there available for them. وَبِجَذْبِهِمْ إِلَى بَابِهِ وَدُودٌ عَطُوفٌ. He is loving. He is interested to take them towards his door, and loving and tender in drawing them to his door. أسألك أن تجعلني من أوفرهم منك حظا. You know, in good things, we have to be always very ambitious. In spirituality, in being faithful, you have to be ambitious. You have to be working and making efforts to become one of the best people. Don't say, I just want to pass the exam. You should aim at excellent marks. So we say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please include us among the people who are the best, who are the most successful, the most prosperous. Who are those people? They are the people that have, sorry, I think my power. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Salamun alaikum. I hope you can hear me. I'm sorry that unfortunately, although the wire was connected, I don't know why it was not working. So it was using battery and it went off. So we were talking about this beautiful sentence about the fact that we want to be among the people who are the most successful one. أسألك أن تجعلني من أوفرهم منك حظا. I ask you to place me among those of them who have the fullest share from you. They don't have, only little achievement. They have achieved the greatest portion. If love of Allah is concerned with, or for example, closeness to Allah, knowledge from Allah, wisdom from Allah, whatever good you think about it, they have achieved the fullest and the greatest portion and share. Even it can mean that they have achieved the fullest share, not just from you, in the sense that something which comes from him, means from him himself. Imagine a person that is very much demanded. For example, 10 people want that person. They want to be all friends with him. Sometimes we say he gives his money into, for example, different portions to them. He gives his time to them. He gives his knowledge to them. He gives his attention to them. So among them, some of them have more share, some less. So this is to have something from him in different degrees. And of course, you want to be the one who has the most, who has the fuller and greater share. But sometimes we are talking about he himself. Not only the one who has fuller share in the things that come from him, the one who has fuller share in he himself. How? Is the one who occupies more his heart, occupies more his attention, the one he feels more attached to them. So not only we want to have fuller share from the gifts that come from Allah, we want to have fuller share from he himself. We want him to feel that we are the closest one to him and he is the person that loves them the most. It's a very beautiful expression. وَأَعْلَاهُمْ عِنْدَكَ مَنْزِلًا. We want to be among the people who have highest position with him. Allah has highest regard for them. وَأَفْضَلِهِمْ فِي مَعْرِفَتِكَ نَصِيبًا. We want to be among the people that have the greatest, the most excellent share of your knowledge. The knowledge which is given by you, or the knowledge which is about you. Ma'rifatika can mean knowledge which comes from you. It can also mean the knowledge about you. We want to have greatest knowledge about you, or greatest knowledge which comes from you. So we should not be satisfied with little things. And then we say, فَقَدْ انْقَطَعَتْ إِلَيْكَ himmati. I have reached the point that I have lost my interest in anything other than you. My aspiration has been cut off from everything but you. So I don't have any interest other than being with you. This is a very important point. If we reach this point, that nothing would be attractive to us, nothing would be interesting to us other than Allah Himself and meeting Allah Himself, then we would be very close to success. If it is not this by itself success, it would be at least very close to success. فَقَدْ انْقَطَعَتْ إِلَيْكَ هِمَّتِي. Okay, I stop here. This is the last slide that we have for today, and inshallah we continue next week with the rest of this beautiful munajatul muridin, those who are devotee. And I'm very sorry that unfortunately we had this interruption because of power, and inshallah we will have our session next week. Our time from next week would be normal time, not summer time, so I shouldn't have problem with prayer, unless your time also is going to change. I have to check to see whether your time would be different or remain the same, but inshallah we will inform you in advance so that you can better plan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be your support, and if you have any question, please put it forward so that we can address them. Thank you very much. Question 1. Salamun alaikum. Who are these servants that are referred to in this dua? These are the people that we know them by their quality, and some of them, not all of them, we know by names. Quality is given, but by name we know some of them, not all of them. All the prophets, all the imams, these are the people who have these qualities, and we should try to be with them. When we say اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم, these are the people that Allah has bestowed His blessing upon them, and we have to try to be with them. Sometimes these people can be unknown to rest of people. Maybe in your own town, maybe in your own country, there are people who have these qualities and you don't know. So it's possible, and it can actually be the case with respect to some people, but only Allah knows about them. Question 2. Salamun alaikum, alaikum assalam. Thank you so much for the lovely lecture. May Allah reward you abundantly. Thank you very much for your dua. Please pray for us when you go to the haram, for our children to be guided. Please can you explain this quote? True worship is not to pray and fast excessively. Rather, true worship is to ponder on God the Most High. What is important for us is not just physically worship. We have to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with our body, with our mind, with our heart, and that is what we call servitude. So there is a difference between ibadah and ubudiyyah. Ibadah means to worship, but ubudiyyah means servitude. And the result is that sometimes you are abid, a worshipper, but not abd. You are not a servant. We worship in order to become abd, not just abid, not just worshipper. We have to become abd, because there is a chance that a person who does ibadah, he may not become actually apt. Sometimes people have worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but unfortunately their understanding has not increased, their love has not increased, their humbleness has not increased, their gratefulness has not increased. Look at Shaitan. For 6,000 years worshipped Allah, but did he become abd? No. So what is very important is to come to a good understanding, to knowledge, to ma'rifah, and this happens by reflection, by contemplation. تفكر ساعة أفضل من عبادة سنة. If you ponder, if you contemplate for 1 hour or some portion of time, it's better than physical worship without thinking for 1 year, or in some versions 60 years, some versions 70 years, depending on the quality of your thinking. So the actions are very important, but if they are empty from thinking and understanding, then their value become very, very low. Question 3. My friend, one day she told me she was so much upset all the time because she do good things. Suddenly her inner say, she always offer prayer, putting way. It's not clear for me what is the question, and I think if it can be rewritten, then I can understand what the question is. Sorry that I cannot guess what is your question. So please rewrite it and send it so that we can answer. Perhaps the question is about the person who does something good, then doubts about whether my action was correct or not, and for example, always wants to repeat and never would be satisfied. If that is the question, so the answer is that when you reach this excessive concern and worry about validity of your action, you have to disregard. Don't pay attention to these doubts which are not normal. Sometimes a person does everything in a very good way, as other mu'minin do, but cannot still be sure. This becomes sometimes a type of condition of the mind that a person can never become sure. And the best answer is to ignore such doubts. These doubts are not grounded in lack of evidence. These doubts are unfortunately there even if a person knows that he has done something right. So you have to ignore if you have such doubts. I hope this was what was meant by the person who had this question. Okay, so we don't have any other question, so inshallah we will say goodbye to you now. But again, I want to apologize for having this interruption, and I hope that inshallah it didn't harm your concentration and your attention. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with you and support you and your family and the community, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen.